computer's collapsing. Sorry. Hello.
Hello.
This is live television.
Are you all right, Rochelle?
I am. I just thought, I'll lift my laptop up a bit, and then my light came crashing down, and just as we went live.
Oh
my gosh, I'm dying.
As usual, we'll just keep that going. How can we say that? How is everybody?
Amazing.
Really
good.
Absolutely buzzing. We weren't here last week, but we're here this week. And it was what did everybody get up to? I was at an event. Rochelle and I was at
the event.
Business.
Naomi wasn't at the event because she didn't do events anymore.
No, she did space.
Naomi has made a commitment this year to attend and support local founders and events. So actually, I was just looking. I was like, where was I last week? So I went to an event last Thursday here in Brighton.
Yes.
But no, do you know what? I'm not going to say, I love the panel. It's barely a week that I'm not here. Yes. But it was quite nice last Wednesday, like having that there was no time to be somewhere. So it's like, I did have calls with clients. I did have other things going on. But it was just like, do you know what? Just nice to sometimes get your head down and do the work, isn't it?
100%.
It's nice to be back.
It's nice to be back. And I'm actually away next week as well. But do you know what? But I was like, it's okay, because when we're here, we make the most of it. And it's like having those bonus days when you weren't expecting a day back and what have you and stuff. And whilst Naomi's having space, I'm actually looking for new groups and new spaces and new rooms. And it's a commitment that I made last year. And last year I went from doing, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 events in the year and reduced it down to 5. And then this year I've just turned it on its head and gone, only go to rooms where you know there's going to be new people. So I went to the Big Festoon, mainly to support Rochelle, but also it was meant to be 3 times the size or 4 times the size than we're used to. So I knew that I'd meet new people, which I did. And then Business Mastery Live. And I attended just like an impromptu one in the most gorgeous landmark hotel in London. That was stunning. So yeah, and then I'm going to AdCon on Tuesday, and I'm really excited about that. So
nice. And you all keep saying like I'm not going to any events. I am, but again, mine are in new spaces.
Yeah.
That's what came to me when I saw your videos, because you know I stalk you. When I saw your videos, I was like, no, she is, but she's doing local. She's meeting new people, and you know what? That's something that I think we forget, or we don't realize, is that even round the corner exist our clients, good relationships, and stuff. You don't have to get on a plane or travel somewhere to go. Like if you took the time to just spend time with the people around you, you'd still get the same results, but you just have to work a bit harder because you don't know them.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say I've lived here 14 years this October, and some of these women are like they're like multi-award winning founders. They live in my city and my town. Yeah. And why have I not been supporting them? I've supported some of them online, but it's like, why haven't I been going to their events? Why haven't I been supporting them? And I'm at another one tomorrow evening. And the great thing is, I'm also being very eco-friendly. I either walk, or if it's a bit further, I get the bus. Or actually, tomorrow evening, it's kind of out of town. I'll drive. But it's
There's something really nice about going to an event that's close to home. So we were in Leeds, weren't we, last week, Victoria, for Business Mastery Live, and it was like I just got on the train and then I came home at the end of the day and like slept in my own bed and then went back to the event the next day. And that was just so nice, not having to think, I've got to travel 3 hours to get somewhere, I've got to book a hotel, do I stay the night before and the night after, and all that logistical nightmare. It's just nice to be close to home.
Yeah, it's funny because I've never done Atomicon, and I'm doing it this year again, a new space, not done it before. I've actually decided to help a friend. Rochelle, you're helping her as well, aren't you? So we're doing a bit of a help and stuff, and just to sort of like give back and also have access to the space. And the owner of Atomicon was at this event, and I kept on chasing him, going, so what needs to happen for me to speak on your stage? And he was walking around, and I was like, and can we move it to London, please? You could see. For context, Atomicon is in Newcastle, and I was like, can we move it to London, please? It's 8 hours to get there and stuff. You could see him looking at me like, now you know how it feels. I'm like, yeah, but it was just really funny. And I was floating around the room and stuff, and it was hilarious. But it was a nice tease. It was a nice tease. Hi, Andrew, if you're watching. But yeah, it was a good time. Now, talking about events and talking about business and everything else, I know the segue.
Nice segue.
The segue. So one of the things, just in case you don't know, every week I ask the group and say, what do we want to talk about this week? And normally it's me that comes up with topics. However, this week, Naomi went, Tess, let me know if it's a crap topic or not. But women are talking about this, and I think that they'll want, you know, if people are talking about it away from the panel, then more than likely people on the panel will want to have a similar conversation. And it's all to do with, you know, motivation, willpower, and discipline. Like, how do you use those, and what do you do when you don't have it, to not just to get it to your business, but also in your life as well? Like, you know, from the moment you wake up in bed, I'll be honest with you, yesterday, I wasn't waking up at all. Like, yesterday, it was a struggle. I was like, I want to stay in bed. So I'm going to take it to Naomi to frame it better for us, but also to give it some context, because it is her topic, and I'd really love what she has to say. Naomi.
Thank you. Can I also just start off by saying, if you can hear any noise in the background, I'm so sorry.
You can't hear anything.
Okay, perfect. I can hear, you know, when scaffolders pull the like hoist, I can hear that, and I'm thinking, I hope I've closed the windows. But anyway, I'm a bit of a geek. This is my topic because for decades, literally 3 decades, I thought that I lacked motivation, willpower, and discipline, and that I was a lazy person in all contexts. Like, even though I had a really successful career, I'd literally come home of a night and collapse on the sofa, watch TV, not want to do any of the like things that I thought I needed to do, should do, never had the energy to exercise, you know, all those different things. And I used to think it was a flaw, a weakness, that I didn't have motivation. You know, obviously talked before about my dieting history, that for 30 years, I started a new diet every week, failed a new diet every week. And I thought that was because I didn't have enough motivation, didn't have enough willpower, and didn't have enough discipline. And so the reason I really wanted to bring this was because I have had so many calls over this last couple of weeks with women, smart, intelligent, focused women who, if I had £1 for every single one of them that said to me, you know, Naomi, I just can't find my motivation, or I haven't got the willpower, or I clearly need more discipline to like stop eating the chocolate or drinking the wine, or to get my ass off the sofa and go to the gym. And I'm like, that's not what this is about. And that's why you're beating yourself up, not excelling in your business in the way that you want to, because motivation, willpower, and discipline, they are energetics. And especially once we are in a certain stage of life, you know, perimenopause, which for a lot of women can actually start at 35. We don't have the estrogen buffer that we had in our 20s and 30s to get to the gym at 5 a.m, to, you know, get the project done for work. So what I tend to see a lot of is women not stepping into their brilliance in all areas of their life, because they're waiting to find the motivation, the willpower, and discipline, and those things aren't there. Or they just come in like, you know, in small kind of energetic moments. So it's why I felt so passionate about talking about it.
Love it. Rochelle, thoughts?
So one of the things I've noticed, and probably since I've been around 35, the impact of my cycle on my ability to do work and to feel motivated and to have willpower and discipline. So I have about a week before I come on my period where no matter how much I want to do something, I really, really struggle. And then once I come on my period, then I'm not too bad. And then I have a really good week. So I'm like, right, that is my get all my work done in that week, because that's when I'm feeling the most motivated before it starts to. And it seems like it's such a short period of time. I literally get maybe 1 to 2 good weeks, and then 2 bad weeks a month. And getting on top of that, it took me a while to notice the pattern. And once I started to notice the pattern, I was then able to work with it instead of it working against me. I do love motivation, and I am quite easily motivated, but you forget to do the things that you know motivate you. So I know, like, if I'm listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video, that will really motivate me. Going to events like last week, I come out and I'm like, yes, I'm going to do more, but they are only short-lived little bursts of motivation. And then when it comes to willpower, I think so when I was 11, I decided I was going to be vegetarian. And previous to that, I dipped out in and out of being vegetarian, and then they'd have sausages at school. And I'm like, oh, I really like the school sausages, so I'm not vegetarian at school. I'm only vegetarian at home. And then my nana would do beef, and I'd be like, okay, I'm not vegetarian anymore. But then when I was 11, I had a bet with my uncle that I said that I could be vegetarian until after Christmas, and he said I couldn't for either. And I did it, and then I was vegetarian then for another 23 years, and then I became vegan. And again, when I became vegan, it wasn't a decision. I didn't need any willpower. People would say to me, "Oh, you're trying being vegan." I'm like, "No, I'm not trying. That's what I am now." And it was a change in something inside me that made it it weren't just a choice. It was like a massive change that I wouldn't deviate away from. And even now, so I'm trying to introduce eggs back into my diet for health benefits. And I tried a little tiny bit of a Yorkshire pudding with vegan milk, and I just it made me feel physically sick. It was something much deeper than willpower that has helped me to be vegan for the last 5 years. But I don't know what that is.
So I'm sorry, when you're talking, I was like that. I was jotting. I was like, oh. You know when you don't know how a topic's going to rile you, and
there you
go. So first and foremost, it's like the whole willpower thing. I think, and I'm going to say this because every human has their own level of evolution, but when I come from it from a woman's perspective. I know that I have underestimated myself a lot. What does that mean? The level of awareness. When you're saying to yourself that you want willpower, discipline, it's almost like I should be this, I should be that, it's like what you shoulda, coulda, woulda been and stuff. I have had friends who are much younger than me, and they'll get work done like that. And I'm there going, what? You've already put that out. You've already put that out. It took me about a year to figure out that, no, Vic. So you're going through perimenopause, which means that you're crashing and burning. You're either having hot flushes, you're having periods that don't make sense and what have you. You're having coils fitted in. You literally, you're going through every single possible sort of thing. And this person who's probably in their early 30s is navigating this just a lot quicker, because guess what? At their age, you were fast as well. At their age, you were doing multi-six figures. At their age, you were running hundreds of people in teams and stuff. At their age, you could do what they're doing. And you can't anymore. Because you've evolved and you're at a different season in your life, and you need to acknowledge that. And then obviously there's the biology, but also life happens. It's like I have an 81-year-old mom. Praise the Lord, she's okay. She's, you know, she's currently at a meeting with somebody at the moment. So, like, she's still functional, but she's still 81. And I am her healer. I also, there's 6 of us and 6 kids, but I speak to her every day. I look after, I want to make sure that she's okay. So there's times when I can't be what other people or what society says I need to be. But also you look at the generational trauma as well. It's like, when you look at generational trauma, if I maybe look back at what my mum was doing at this age, it could be very similar or very different. I don't know. So when it comes to motivation, I've had to give myself permission to be. And it's one of the reasons why I focus more on purpose, because I'm like, if you know what you're here to do, that's what gets me up in the morning. That's what I know, that I'm here to give other people their purpose, to reveal their purpose, as well as to make sure that my mum has the best possible life till the end of her days. That's what gets me up. It's nothing, it's no meditation, it's that, but also my faith as well, to be fair. So the question is, have we resigned ourselves to the fact that we don't need permission, or do we still look for permission for the motivation, discipline, and everything else in our lives? Or have we just resigned to it and gone, it's okay, I'm all right?
Rochelle, first.
I could see Naomi's eyes going, where's she going? Where's she going? Rochelle!
Can you say that again? Have we?
So have you resigned yourself that you don't need to have the motivation and the discipline and the willpower to do what you need to do? Like, have you surrendered to it, or are you still looking to have that motivation and discipline?
I think the difficulty is we need to get our work done. We've got businesses at the end of the day. If we're not doing the work, oh, look at this person.
I love the fact that my topic has brought out this reminds me of a social service.
I love
it. Yeah, we've got businesses. At the end of the day, if we don't do the work in our business, we don't get paid, we don't put money on the table, we don't put food on the table, especially like you two ladies being you are responsible for your own households. I've got Chris there to support me, so if I don't bring in money, he might still be bringing in some money, and that helps. But we can't just rely on motivation. I think one of the ways that I get around this is I just employ other people to do the work that I am not motivated to do. So I've got a fabulous lady, Beth, who's doing my outreach. So she's like messaging people, following up for me. That's amazing. So I'm like, that was something I really struggled with, and it was a weakness in my business where I wasn't I was leaving money on the table, I wasn't having enough conversations, people wanted to work with me and I wasn't getting back to them. And so by having Beth there, that's taken a huge weight off my shoulders, that's allowing me to do other things. I've then got my a VA that does my she's building funnels and things for me, so that means that I've not got that pressure of having to try and do everything, because I think us as business owners, we take on every single different position of business. And actually, like for me, I just want to direct people and tell other people what to do. And that's where I feel like I'm in my strength. So I think I might have talked about it before. When I was moving house, my mum was like, you're not doing anything. And I'm like, I was doing something. I was doing the most important job, was making sure that everybody else knew what they were doing. And I was like, right, that needs doing, that needs doing, that needs doing. And I was telling everyone else what to do. And that's a position of strength for me, and something that I really enjoy doing, just being bossy and letting everyone else do what they need to do in their positions of strength.
Yeah. Naomi, thank you, Rochelle. I like that.
So I don't need permission or to give myself permission, because actually I understand now what part motivation, willpower and discipline play and I no longer rely on any of them to achieve or sustain my health goals, achieve things in my business, navigate this chapter of life and menopause. I have built-in systems into every area of my life, not just like business systems, but systems in every area of my life that stop me relying on when I feel like doing something. And yes, that does, you said something really key there, Rochelle. I work with so many women who at certain times of the month, regardless of whether they still have their menstrual cycle, they don't, they're in menopause, perimenopause, whatever it might be, surgically induced menopause, they have ebbs and flows in their energy. And it's like I say as well, that our brain and our human beingness was not built for what we all sustain on a daily basis. The amount of noise, social media, all the multiple platforms we have to respond to people on, regardless of whether we've got VAs working with us, lead gen, whatever, there's still platforms that we need to be on multiple times a day to respond, clients, family commitments, everything, whatever it might be. So I've built in systems into all areas of my life now that mean that I'm no longer relying on motivation, willpower, and discipline to get things done or to do the things that, and it's not, I heard what you said there about the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And I'm always, that fabulous Tony Robbins saying, stop shoulding all over yourself. I always say that with my clients. I don't want to hear the word should, but if it is a goal that you've got, as in, I want to be fit and healthy, then it shouldn't be about, I should go to the gym. It's actually about the fact that you want to go to the gym, and it doesn't have to be the gym. It can be going out for a walk. It can be preparing a healthy meal. It can be going to bed early and not sitting and watching Netflix for 3 hours. It can be any of those things. But having systems built in for me has been an absolute, and for my clients, has been an absolute game changer in all areas of life.
I love that. So here's my thing though. You see, if I'm really honest, motivation isn't part of my vocabulary. I'm possibly even discipline as well, or willpower, and I think it's because to me, I'm like, okay, like at the moment, I'm really paying attention to how I eat, especially because I've been on the road for 5 days. So I'm like, I've been on the road for 5 days. I'm sure I was somewhere else as well before that. So I'm like, okay, I want to sort out my food, and I'm looking at my food. And I want to do like a couple of days fasting for a number of reasons. I want to do it because I want to give my digestive system a break. I also want to do it because of religious purposes. I want to do it and stuff, but I'm like, I'm not going to start doing it straight away. So what I do is I just do incremental. I don't beat myself up about it. So it's like I have like my juices and everything else, and I drink loads of water anyway. So I do everything in the morning, and then maybe around early evening, I might have something to chew on and stuff. But I'm working towards having like a couple of days fast and what have you. I don't beat myself about it. I haven't got the capacity to start beating myself about it because I've got people to look after. I've got people's purpose to reveal. I've got people's lives to detangle. I haven't got time to be punishing myself. And I also think that when we punish ourselves and start going, oh, well, what should I be doing? I feel that that's also an element of not self-care. Self-care isn't just about going to a spa and relaxing and everything else and stuff. So how do you talk to yourself? Because if you're saying to yourself, well, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that, and I'm not saying that it's bad if somebody's planning. What I'm saying is it's a choice on how you want to navigate your life and also how you work. Now, Rochelle said a great thing, which is around sort of like delegating and other work in business that needs to be done equally. Again, if I know that something needs to be done, so for example, my website has not been functional for a while. I didn't like the way it looked and everything else. And I'm working with someone at the moment. I said, let's have a look at that. I'm going to get you to do that and what have you. It's not even a thing. It's just what needs to be done. When can it be done? And also, I don't have a deadline for the website because I'm like, do you know what? There's other stuff happening in my business as well. Nobody's really relying on my website, but it will be good information. So I then graduate. So I flow into situations. I literally go, okay, so I'd like to get that done. What needs to happen to get it done? It's either me or somebody else. But to me, those 3 words aren't a thing. And maybe they should be, but I haven't got time to be beating myself up about it. So my question is, what about when you know what works and you still don't do it?
You need a pattern interrupt. Do you want to give an example?
Yeah. So, okay. So, for example, say for example, I know that I've got people around me that can help me in my business, but there could be times where it's like I know that I can call Marie to get this done, or I can call Tara to get this done, but you just don't, and then it just keeps on stewing. And so what happens then? Because it could be as simple as just picking up the phone and sending a message and stuff. So what happens? What happens if you've got systems, but you're not using the systems, or you're not capitalizing on systems, or you're not asking for help? Then what? What happens then?
I guess that's where self-awareness is a huge key part of being aware of the patterns that you are following, because it's autopilot. That's what it really is. It's autopilot that you're following, and it's, I always say the 2 C's with inside my programs, like compassion and curiosity. Curiosity around why. If you know that doing B will help support, drive your business forward, health goals, wealth goals, whatever it might be, and you're not doing it, the curiosity around why. And then once you have that curiosity around why you're not doing it, then you can break the pattern down.
Okay, I like that. And Rochelle?
So for me, there are definitely things in life that I know I not should that I would like to be doing. I think sometimes it comes down to priorities. And why are people really weird today? Orange flavored.
There's some bizarre comments today.
So weird.
Don't ever ask me again what subject we should talk about on the panel.
Yeah, there are definitely things in life that I would love to be doing, but I think it comes down to what you prioritize and what's important to you, and also like how painful things are for you. So like often, oh, that's a nice comment, Naomi. You are beautiful. So it comes down to like if something is painful enough for you to move. I'm turning these comments off. Sorry guys. I can't.
Very distracting today.
Hi, son.
So what I was saying is, yeah, if something's painful enough, it makes you so uncomfortable, it makes you move. So for instance, when you've got money coming in and you're like, oh, I don't need to do the stuff that I was doing because money's coming in, money's flowing, and then you stop doing the stuff that you need to do, and all of a sudden money's not coming in, and then when you start to hit that friction, then you're like, right, now I need to do it. Now I've not got a choice. And I think often people don't move because they are just too comfortable in the position that they are. And it's even though it's uncomfy, the thought of doing something different feels more painful. So it's getting that balance. And yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that. Like whether it's with like not going to the gym until I'm like, right, now I really need to go to the gym. If I'd have just started going when I first thought about going, then I'd be fine. Yeah, so I think that's the thing. Things need to become painful. Your back literally needs to be against the wall often for you to move forward with these things that aren't necessarily a priority to you. You can't prioritize everything all of the time, can you? Like we're busy in business, then you're trying to keep fit, then looking after a family, and there's all these different priorities, and you're juggling and spinning lots of plates, and you're always going to drop some of the balls some of the time, aren't you?
Yeah. So one of the things that has come to me as you guys are talking, I know a lot of people who want more for their life. They want more for their life. they feel like motivation is a thing. They feel like willpower is a thing. When they get the opportunities, they still don't capitalize on those opportunities. And I believe as well that there is the level of awareness around fear, because I know for sure that I've brought people in, given them money, and they still can't deliver, even though they thought money was a problem. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And it's that whole thing where it's like, yeah, I need motivation, I need willpower, yeah. And it's like, no, you don't. It's that whole thing of self-belief. But also, again, I go back to purpose, like understanding what you're here to do. Because when you understand your assignment of this world, I promise you and stuff, it bucks you up. It bucks you up in a way that you possibly can't even imagine. And when I sort of like look at people around me who aren't leaning out and not feeling motivated, it's because the idea of money sounds amazing, or idea of success, but the reality of it scares the hell out of them, and as a result they don't lean into what's truly theirs. Any thoughts?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yes, and that comes back to belief, doesn't it?
Yeah, we need to. I think as a race, we need to really believe we need to believe what we're here to do, but we also need to believe why we're here to do it, and we also need to believe that we can do it. And when we stop listening to the noise, there's been a lot of noise recently online, especially and stuff, and a lot of that noise, I believe that sometimes puts people into cages where you think, oh well, I'll just sit in my end because I don't believe that I can be this big and stuff. So people make themselves smaller. Oh, this is a topic, make themselves smaller for the comfort of others. And as a result of stuff, they think they misinterpret that it is an issue around motivation, willpower, and discipline. When meanwhile, you've just suppressed yourself and made yourself so small that you can't think beyond where you currently are. Don't ask me to repeat that.
No, very, very good point. And I think also one of the reasons that I kind of wanted this topic today, even though it might be social services kind of meeting style, is because I see so many gurus out there talking about, like, you need more discipline, you need to be motivated, you need all these things, which actually can make so many people feel pretty crap about the fact that they don't have those feelings. And one thing we have not mentioned is neurodivergency. And we know that there is a massive, massive impact on, non-typical brains of how they respond to doing things, whether it's procrastinating, whether it's delaying gratification, whether it's searching for dopamine, all those different things, and can make so many people feel so inferior in their own life, and like you say, which then, Vic, makes them shrink.
Yeah.
Because they feel like, well, I've already been called out for not having discipline. Even though they haven't necessarily been called out, somebody saying in a post, like, you just need more discipline. You need to know what your purpose is, here. You need to know your why. If you've got a brain that isn't responding to those things, somebody telling you them it doesn't make no difference. It makes a lot of difference in a negative way. So self-awareness is a huge thing. And, for me, especially during menopause and understanding my brain and, neurodivergency has been massive for me to help me stop relying on, like, when I feel like doing something, when I'm not motivated, when I don't feel like I have the discipline. So I think, it's, it is about having that self-awareness, but also having the tools and the strategies to know how to stop relying on the things that, so many people are relying on. And, I have so many women that come to me and they're like, I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, but I just don't have the motivation. It's like, you can do X, Y, and Z even without the motivation.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's understanding that and having the awareness.
So what I'm hearing here is motivation, willpower, and discipline are not the showstopper of your goal.
Correct.
But also the self-awareness comes from those of us who reach out and are transforming people's lives. The self-awareness from our perspective, how we speak to our audiences, but also the self-awareness from the person who wants to change but is trying to navigate how to get that change. And I'm just going to wrap this up because before I do like a final round the room, is what I also noticed as well. And I remember somebody promoting and criticizing people for not buying their products. And it was like, well, you know, you need to sort of like have more, you know, you need to have more discipline and stuff, and look in your pockets, and do you really want this and everything else? And my frustration about watching that sort of content going out was that I'm looking at the person who is a single parent, and is looking at not just how can I improve my business, but also how am I going to pay my bills? You know, or how do I look after my elderly parent, and also the navigating the time to do all these things and everything else. Meanwhile, the person who was creating this content is very self-sufficient, has a lot of financial and emotional support away from their business. And again, how we speak to our clients is really important, because when we start losing their trust, when we stop having their backs, that's then what creates a trust recession, in my opinion. So final words, Rochelle.
So I think that's a good point about we're all starting from different positions. We're all in different positions financially. We're all in different positions in terms of whether we've got children or we've got elderly parents. Some people have got both. It's almost like there's always people that are worse off than what we are. And I think sometimes we are harsh on ourselves, but I think sometimes we also need to be harsh on ourselves and give ourselves a kick up the bum to actually do the things that we need to do to get to where we want to be. And one of the things that's worked really well for me is doing the small tasks that move the needle the most. So it's like, right, what one little thing can I do? And often that's just like, right, okay, I can go on LinkedIn, I can do a post. That's going to take me maybe 10 minutes, and it's something that I've done for the day to move my business forward. And I actually had a few weeks ago now, I was having a bit of a bad time where I'd got two of my biggest clients that had not paid and weren't able to pay me. And I was like, I'm just going to quit. I hate this. Why am I in business? I hate property. I've had enough. I just want a break. And then I just had sorry, I'm just getting my charger. I just had a day off, basically. I binge watched Age of Attraction for the day and played on Netflix and played a game on my phone. But while I was doing that, I had this idea to put out an offer, and I didn't even put out the offer. I just asked, if I was to put an offer out like this, would anyone be interested? And it went crazy, and I got about 30 leads from this, from like I posted it on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and I had about 30 leads from this, and then I've started to bring in money from it. And sometimes you need to give yourself that break so that you can then burst through. But I think it's also easy to, if you stay in that place for too long, it's a spiral downwards, and it's knowing how to break through.
I hear that. And Naomi, final thoughts?
Yeah, as you said that final thoughts, I was like, oh, I've got a minute because it's going to Rochelle first. And I just wrote down two things: self-awareness and self-leadership. And kind of coming back to your point there, Rochelle, like we can so often give ourselves a break, but actually what we can sometimes be doing is actually self-sabotage, being over lenient with ourselves, like, you know, oh, I deserve it, I've earned it, this. But actually it really is sometimes being incredibly brutally honest. And there's a difference between being honest with yourself and being like, you know, putting shame and guilt on yourself. But you can do it in a way that is like, you know what, no, actually I am like kidding myself here by sitting down and watching the Netflix or whatever. But sometimes I completely agree. There are times, I think it was I don't know, a few days ago or something, where I was doing something and I said to myself, right, I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to do 60 minutes focus work on this. And I started and I could just literally feel myself like lagging, procrastinating. So what I usually do in those times is I move away from what it is that I'm doing. I don't tend to go and do something like sit down and watch something. Now I tend to go and do something else. And then it recreates the kind of momentum, motivation, whatever in that different area. But I in the past have absolutely done that. Oh, do you know what? I don't feel like it today, but do you know what? I did this. Or I used to reason with myself, but I've done this or I've done that. Oh, I deserve it. Whereas now I'm far more likely to have that, curiosity around it. Like, why am I feeling like this? Or what could I do instead that is still getting something done? But sometimes, like you say, Rochelle, just freeing up the brain space. After this today, I have got things I need to get done, but actually I'm thinking I need to change my state. I need to get out. I need to go for a walk. And actually on that walk, I've got emails to respond to. I've got some voice notes. I can do it on my walk. So it's rather than, oh, do you know what? I could just go and sit down for like half an hour or 40 minutes and just have a bit of a rest. So that level of self-awareness and self-leadership, I think, is just really, really invaluable.
Thank you. So Tony Robbins always says, change your state. He is the master of that. Whether it's jumping up and down, if you've got a rebounder, jump on it and stuff like I was this morning. Go out, get some fresh air. It makes a huge amount of difference. I know for sure, like I can sit on this chair for 24 hours literally and not move. It's my easiest state and stuff. I'm having to force myself like to go out for a walk and stuff and just go into the woods and just, especially at the moment when the weather's so good. So like I've been going for walks with my friend and stuff, and we've been really enjoying just exploring where we live. We've lived here for like over 20 years and stuff, and we still discover new haunts and what have you. And it, like Naomi says, it just recalibrates you back into a state where you've got more awareness and you can create exactly what you want. If you've got any questions on this topic, I want you to message us. Just put a message in and stuff, and we'll decide whose area it sits in, and we'll respond to you on this. We will be back in 2 weeks. Sending you lots of love. Speak to you later. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.